I've been sitting with these accounts for this channel for a long time now. Sometimes I read them back to back until the sun starts coming up over the trees outside my window. And I've noticed that people usually reach for the same handful of words when things go sideways. They talk about how fast it happened or how quiet it got. But then a story comes in like the one from Kash, and it shifts the way I hear all the others. Kash is 26. He lives in Birmingham, Alabama, and he does art for a living. He spent his whole life believing that when you die, that's it. Lights out. Nothing after. He's got these leaf pattern tattoos across his face and this steady, careful way of looking at things, like he's really taking them in. He sent me his account just a few days ago while he was still propped up in a hospital bed at UAB, and there's a specific detail in the first few minutes of his accident that I can't stop turning over. It's about how he saw himself, not just what it felt like, but where he was watching it all from. I'm Zeke. I don't have the answers to why these things happen, but I'm interested in the overlap. I'm interested in the parts that stay the same, even when the person telling the story changes. Listen to this part. I always go to Railroad Park when the sun starts to drop toward the Iron City underpasses. That's my favorite time of day. The light comes in low and hits the brick and the steel at this angle where everything turns gold and sharp, in a way a photo never quite catches. I never believed in anything I couldn't see with my own two eyes. If I couldn't touch it or stand right in front of it, it wasn't real to me. I've got my bag on my back and I'm on my bike, just pedaling through the streets, trying to catch that last good hour before dark. The air is still hot, that thick Alabama heat that sits on your chest and doesn't let up, but the wind off the bike is keeping me cool enough. I remember the sound of my tires on the pavement, that steady humming noise. It's a good sound, it's a normal sound. And then everything just breaks. I'm at an intersection, I have the right of way, I'm not even thinking about it. But then this black SUV, big, heavy, like a solid block of shadow, just blows through the red light. The driver is looking down. I see her face for a split second through the glass. She's staring at a phone. She's texting. She's not in the world at all. She hits me broadside, and for a second, the whole street just smears and lurches. I don't feel the pain right away. That's the weird part. It's more like the whole world lurched and got shoved around. 1 second I'm upright, moving forward, and the next I'm being slammed down into the hot asphalt. I get stuck. I'm under the vehicle. I can feel the heat coming off the engine, smelling like burnt oil and road grit. My face is pressed against the ground. I'm pinned. But here's the part I can't explain. I'm under the car. I can feel the weight of it crushing my chest, the metal hot against my shoulder. I'm terrified. I'm trying to breathe, but my lungs feel like they've been flattened. I'm fighting for every scrap of air. That's one part of me. But there was another part. Suddenly, I'm standing about 15 feet away over by the curb. I'm just watching. I'm looking at the whole thing like it's happening to somebody else, and I've just walked up on it. I see the SUV. I see my bike crumpled up in the road. I see a man pinned under the rear axle. I know it's me. I can see the green puffer vest I'm wearing, the one I bought because I liked the way it looked against all the gray of the city. I see the blood starting to pool on the pavement, dark and wet. The me under the car is screaming inside. The me on the curb is completely flat. No panic, no fear. I'm just watching it happen. I'm thinking, this is all going to be fine. It's like a voice that isn't a voice is speaking straight into my head, telling me I'm okay. I notice the light catching the broken glass from my headlight, and some part of me thinks it looks almost pretty. It's sick, right? My body is being crushed, and I'm noticing how the light looks. I don't know how long I'm in two places at once. Time isn't moving in a straight line anymore. It's like it keeps skipping. I see the paramedics. I see the lights, the red and blue flashing against the brick walls. They're moving fast, they're shouting, and then right when they start to pull me out, the two parts of me they snap back together. The curb version of me is gone. I'm back in my body. I'm back in the broken bones and the heat and the blinding pain. I can feel my spine. I don't know how to explain it, but I can feel every fracture, like someone is dragging a sharp blade down my back. I'm in the ambulance now. The sirens are screaming, but they sound like they're underwater. Everything is going bright, brighter, and brighter, until there's nothing left to see. I've heard a few stories now from people who describe that same split. They're pinned in a wreck or lying on a sidewalk, and suddenly they're also 10 feet away, watching the whole thing like a stranger. It's called dual awareness, and it's one of those patterns that keeps showing up in the accounts people send to this channel. Kash described it as being in two places at the same time, but I've heard other people call it a view from the rafters or just getting out of the way. What gets me is that the part of the person that moves to the curb is always the calm part. It's never the part that's screaming. It's like something in us knows how to step back and hold still when things get too hard to look at directly. I've been wondering if that's a survival thing or if it's the first sign that the mind is starting to come loose from the body. It makes me think about how much of who we are is actually tied to the body and how much is just watching from the side. Anyway, they get Kash to the emergency room at UAB. He's a mess. His spine is basically shattered. They stop counting the fractures once they hit 100. He's an atheist, remember? He's laying there in the ICU over the weekend, and all he's thinking is that his life is over, that he'll never work or move the way he used to again. He's thinking about the plain physical reality of a broken back. But then Monday comes. Monday is when they take him into surgery to try and piece his vertebrae back together. That's when everything goes bright again. The last thing I remember in the prep room is the smell of the antiseptic and the coldness of the table. I'm staring at the ceiling tiles, counting them, trying to stay focused on something solid. The anesthesiologist says something to me. I don't remember what. And then I'm just gone. I'm not asleep though. I'm not dreaming. Suddenly I'm standing up. That's the first thing I notice. I'm standing on 2 feet, and there's no pain. My back doesn't feel like a bag of broken glass anymore. I'm on this highland peak. It's jagged, all gray rock and sharp edges, and the air is incredible. It smells like ozone and fresh rain and cut grass right after a storm. I'm confused. I'm looking around thinking, this isn't the operating room. I know I'm supposed to be under. I know I'm supposed to be having my spine stapled back together. So why am I here? Why am I looking out over these mountains that look sharper and clearer than anything has any right to look? The colors are too much. The green of the trees in the valley below. It's not just green. It's like someone turned the color up past what's even possible. It's almost humming. I look at the sky, and it's this deep, impossible violet. I've stared at a lot of colors in my life, and I've never once seen this. I don't even have a name for it. I start to feel this energy. It's not heat. It's not a breeze. It's like a current of something moving through me, filling up all the empty spaces. And I realize with this sudden heavy certainty that it's love. But it's not the kind of love I knew back home. It's not somebody being glad to see you. It's something deeper than that. It's like the ground under my feet is made of it. I'm standing there and I start to panic, but it's a different kind of panic. I'm thinking, wait, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm an atheist. I don't believe in the hillside. I don't believe in the love. I'm a mistake. I'm not supposed to be here at all. I'm waiting for the whole thing to fall apart. I'm waiting for whatever this is to figure out I'm a non-believer and wipe me away. But it doesn't. The feeling of being accepted just gets stronger. It's like I'm being held, like I'm something someone made with a lot of care, and they're finally looking at me and saying, yes, this is exactly right. I'm crying now, but I don't have eyes, I don't have a face. I'm just this point of awareness in the middle of all that violet and gold. And then I hear the voice. It's everywhere. It's coming from the rocks and the sky and the valley. It's powerful, like a low note you feel in your teeth. It says, this is your home. You are a part of me. And I remember, it's like a door I never knew was there just swung open. I remember that the Birmingham streets and the bike and the tattoos and the broken back, all of that was just a short trip, a temporary thing. This is the real one. This place, this Highland Peak, this is where I actually belong. I feel like a kid who finally found their way back to their own room after being lost for hours in some giant, scary building. I'm home. I'm still standing on that jagged peak. I can feel the texture of the rock under my feet. It's not smooth. It's got these sharp edges that should be cutting into me, but they don't. Everything is so clear and sharp. It's like the world I left behind in Birmingham was a faded, worn-down copy, and now I'm finally seeing the real thing. The air is humming with that clean, sharp smell, and then something shifts. A presence comes closer. At first, I don't see a person. I see this white dragon spirit. It's Jesus, but he's not the guy from the stained glass windows in the churches I used to walk past in the South. He's huge, but he's light. He's made of this intense, bright energy that doesn't hurt to look at. It's like looking straight into a really bright bulb, except instead of white, it's every color at once, moving so fast it looks like silver. I've spent my whole life around things that only look real. A picture on a screen, paint on a wall. Nothing is ever as solid as it pretends to be. But this, in this dragon spirit form, he is the most solid thing I've ever seen. He's more real than the bike I was riding. He's more real than the blood on the asphalt. I'm weeping, and I don't know why. It's just this huge wave of relief pouring out of me. All the atheism, all the years of telling myself we're just machines that switch off one day, it all just falls away. I look at him and I know. I just know. There's no name tag, no label, but I recognize him instantly. It's like spotting a familiar face in a crowd. Even if they've changed their hair or their clothes, you just know who it is underneath. And then this female presence arrives. She's standing there, but her face won't quite come into focus, like it keeps slipping out of view. She gives me this hug, and it's not just a physical thing. It's like her and me overlap for a second. She tells me she's going to teach me what I need to know. She says, I have to go back. And I literally pitch a fit. I'm 26, I'm a grown man, but I'm acting like a toddler who's just been told playtime is over. I don't want the Birmingham streets. I don't want the broken back. I don't want to go back to a world that's just a pale copy of this place. I'm arguing, I'm telling her no, I'm saying, keep me here, I'm done with Earth, it's too hard, it's too ugly. She just waits. She's patient, like a teacher watching a kid have a meltdown. Then she says, Kash, you agreed to this. This was the plan you chose before you were ever born. I don't remember that. I tell her she's wrong. I tell her I would never agree to get smashed by an SUV and spend my life in a wheelchair. So she shows me. This is where it stops matching most of the stories I've gathered. Usually, people talk about a life review, seeing what they did. But Kash says he was shown a pre-life review. He describes this video playing in the sky, showing him making deals before he was even born. I'm Zeke, and I'm sitting here wondering about the recognition part. Kash was a hard atheist. He didn't believe in Jesus, didn't believe in spirits. And when he sees this thing, this white dragon spirit, he doesn't run and he doesn't doubt. He knows exactly who it is. I've heard a few accounts where a religious figure shows up as something else entirely, a light, a sound, even just a feeling. And the person always says, I just knew. What I keep coming back to is that knowing. How does somebody who spent their whole life sure that none of this was real look at a figure that shouldn't make any sense to them and recognize it instantly? I'd genuinely like to hear from anyone else who saw something that didn't match the pictures you grew up with, but you knew what it was anyway. How did that recognition actually land for you? Anyway, this female guide starts playing this video for him right there on the Highland Peak, and Kash starts seeing parts of himself he hadn't even thought about. The video appears in the air right in front of me. It's like a huge picture hanging in space, but there's no projector, nothing making it. It's just there. It's a part of the place itself. I see myself, but not the me in the green vest. I see my soul, or whatever I am when I'm not in the body. I'm standing with these figures, these angels and the dragon spirit, and we're planning my life together. I see myself agreeing to be an atheist. That's the part that really knocks me sideways. I wanted to know what it was like to turn away from all of this. I wanted to see if I could find my own way back on my own, like without any of it handed to me. It was a choice. I wanted to see if I could live a whole life turned away from the source and still find my way home. But I also see that there were exit ramps. The guide shows me these points in my life. Point A, point B, point C. One was when I was 19 and almost drowned in the Cahaba River. Another was a car wreck that didn't happen because I tapped the brakes just in time. These were supposed to be my wake-up calls. They were chances to remember who I was and where I came from without having to go through the big trauma. But I missed them all. I just kept walking through my life with my head down, only looking at what was right in front of me. I was so good at being an atheist that I tuned out every single signal. So we get to the current moment. The guide tells me the SUV wasn't a punishment. It was the big wake-up call. It was the only thing left that would be loud enough to break through the wall I'd built around myself. It was the last chance. If I didn't remember now, I'd spend the rest of my life just asleep to all of it. I'm looking at this video of myself making these deals, and it's like a memory that had been locked away my whole life suddenly comes back. I remember the room. I remember the feeling of choosing this life. I remember saying, yeah, I can handle it. I want to see what it's like down there. It makes me feel like an idiot. I'm standing there on the peak and I'm embarrassed. I realize how much I've been ignoring. I realize that the hard parts of being on Earth, the struggle, the loneliness, the physical pain, they're all there on purpose. They're the contrast. They're the thing that makes you able to see the light at all. The guide tells me she has more to show me. She tells me that if I'm going to go back, I need to understand how the ripples work. I need to see the mirror pond. The dragon spirit, Jesus, he's just watching me with this steady silver light. He doesn't say anything else, but I can feel that he's not upset with me. He's not mad that I fought him. He's not mad that I didn't believe in him for 26 years. It's like he's just glad I finally looked up. We start moving. We leave the peak behind. The gray rocks and the clean, sharp smell start to fade, and the ground under my feet starts to feel soft but solid at the same time. I'm being led to a body of water that looks like it's made of melted silver. This is the life review. This is where things get dark. The ground here doesn't feel solid. It's like I'm walking on something thick and soft and heavy, like wet paper. Every step I take leaves a faint dark smudge behind me, but it fades as soon as I move on. My guide, that woman with the face I can't quite see, leads me toward a body of water that looks like it's been poured out of melted silver. It's the mirror pond. I don't want to look at it. I already know what's in my own life, the ugly parts, the mean parts, the things I did that I never wanted to see again. I want to keep all of that hidden. I want to just skip the last 10 years of my life. She stops at the edge. The water is perfectly still, reflecting that violet sky. She looks at me. Well, I feel her looking at me. And she gestures toward the surface. She wants me to touch it. I'm worn out. I've already seen the Highland and the Dragon Spirit and the video in the sky. I just want the lesson to be over. I'm standing there and the air smells like wet paper and cold rain. I shake my head. I tell her I've had enough and I'm ready to just go back into the dark. She doesn't move. She just puts her hands on her hips and I can almost feel her sighing. She says, "Just do it, Kash. Reach out. Look at what you've done." So I do. I crouch down. My knees don't creak like they do back home in the humidity. I reach out a finger and just barely tap the silver surface. The ripples start. They're not like water ripples. They spread out slow and wide, and on top of each one, a little scene starts playing. It's like 1,000 moments from my life all playing at once. I'm looking at my whole life. I'm sucked into one. Suddenly, I'm back in our old house in Hoover. I'm 16. The light coming through the window is that dusty afternoon orange. I can see the dust floating in the air. I'm in my bedroom, and my younger sister is standing in the doorway. She's 10. She's holding one of my old notebooks, and she's just trying to be a part of my world. She wants me to see her, but I'm in a bad mood. I'm stressed about something, and I'm full of that teenage ego that thinks I'm the only thing that matters. I look at her and I say something. I say something sharp. I tell her she's a nuisance. I tell her the stuff she makes is garbage and she should stop pretending she's any good at it. I remember saying it. I remember the ugly little rush of power it gave me to shut her down. But this time, I'm not just the one saying it. The whole thing flips around. I'm not standing behind my desk anymore. I'm standing in her shoes. I'm looking at me, the 16-year-old me with the cold eyes and the sharp mouth. I feel the weight of my own words hitting her. It's not just a feeling. It's like something heavy and black is being poured into my chest. I feel the sudden sharp drop in her stomach. I feel the heat rising in her face, the way her vision blurs with tears she's trying to hide. I feel the exact way her heart just It caves in. It's like watching something bright get smeared into a dull gray until there's nothing left. I'm the one who did that. I'm standing there, and the weight of her hurt is so heavy, it feels like it's crushing my ribs. I was the bad guy here. I was the thing that broke her. I can see the ripples of that one moment spreading out into her whole week. I see her going to school the next day and not raising her hand in class because she still feels small. I see her putting her own things away in a drawer because I told her she wasn't good enough. I'm watching her whole life tilt a little because of one mean thing I said, and I can't look away. The moment keeps repeating, looping over and over, and each time it hits, that black weight gets heavier. Time doesn't work here. This 1 minute feels like it's lasting a year. I'm stuck in it. I want to scream. I want to reach into it and pull those words back. I want to tell her I'm sorry, that I was just being a jerk, that she's amazing, but I can't. I'm just stuck watching my own worst moment. I'm being made to feel the exact weight of the pain I put into the world. The darkness in this part is thick. It's not just an absence of light, it's a presence. It feels like cold, wet clay being pressed against my skin. I'm drowning in it. In every selfish thing I ever did. I'm looking at all the times I put myself first, all the times I treated people like they were just extras in my story. I see the faces of people I ignored. I feel the sting of every mean comment I left on somebody else's work when I was jealous. Every small, cruel thing I ever did, I feel the full weight of it. It's like a debt I owe, dragging me down. And I'm just waiting for it to end. I'm waiting for the dark to cover everything until there's nothing left. But then the guide touches my shoulder. I've been reading these for a long time, and the life review is usually the part that makes people stop talking. They get this look on their face like they're still carrying the weight of what they saw. And Kash calls it a physical debt. I've heard others call it a cleanup crew for the soul. I'm Zeke, and I have a question about that moment when the movie stops. Kash is watching his own life play out in front of him, one moment after another. But then all of a sudden, he's not just watching anymore, he's inside it. He's standing in his little sister's shoes, feeling the heat rise in her face, feeling her heart cave in. What I want to know is, where's the break? Where exactly is the line between being a spectator, watching your own life, and becoming the victim of your own actions? Is there a moment where it flips? I'm genuinely curious about the mechanics of that shift. If you've been through this, I'd like to know. Was there a specific point where you realized you weren't just watching a movie anymore, but you were actually paying a debt? Did it feel like a physical sensation, or was it something else? Kash is at the bottom. He's stuck in the worst of his own mistakes. But then it shifts again. The guide shows him the other side of the balance. I'm still at the edge of the mirror pond. I'm gasping, even though I don't have lungs. The weight of all that darkness is still there. But then the guide shows me a different ripple. She points to a spot where the silver water is bright, like it's being hit by a spotlight. I touch it. Suddenly I'm back in Birmingham. It's Christmas. It's that 1 year when the city actually got a little snow and everything looks clean and white and new. I'm at the Piggly Wiggly on Claremont Avenue. It's packed, everyone is stressed, the lines are long, and the air is full of that nervous holiday energy. I see the clerk. She's exhausted. Her eyes are red-rimmed, and she's trying to deal with this guy in front of me who is screaming about the price of a ham. He's being vile. He's calling her names. I can see it in her face. She's just trying to hold it together. She's about to break. I'm watching this from the outside, but then I see myself step up. I'm 24, I've got my headphones around my neck. I look at her, and I don't just mumble thanks. I stop. I look her in the eye, really look at her, the way you look at someone when you actually want to see them, and I tell her she's doing an amazing job. I tell her I can't believe how well she's handling the crowd, and that she's the only reason I'm getting through the day. I give her this big, stupid grin, and everything shifts. I feel what she feels. It's like a burst of warm gold spilling over all that gray. It's this sudden bright lift in her chest. I feel the tension leaving her shoulders. I feel the exact way her whole day it opens back up. I see the ripples. I see her going home that night. She doesn't yell at her kids. She's patient with her husband. She brings that bit of light into her house. And then her kids go to school the next day feeling a little bit better, a little bit steadier. The ripple spreads out across the whole city, all because I took 10 seconds to be a human being instead of just a customer. I realized the light isn't just a nice feeling. It's not a fancy little glow. The light is what holds everything up. It's what holds the whole world together. The guide looks at me, and I can feel her nodding. She says, "Do you see? Every mark you leave on somebody matters. Every bit of darkness you put out there has weight, but so does every bit of light you add." I see it. I finally see how the whole thing balances out. It's not about being a believer or a scientist. It's about love. It's about understanding that we're all in this together. And when I hurt you, I'm hurting myself too. The weight of all that darkness starts to lift. It doesn't disappear. I still have to answer for those mean words to my sister, but it's balanced now. I see that I have the power to tip that balance either way. But then, the fear hits me. I remember my broken spine. I remember the SUV. I remember the pain in the ICU at UAB. I'm looking at this silver pond, and I'm terrified to go back into that broken body. I'm a wimp, man. I don't want the surgical staples. I don't want the rehab. I look at the guide, and I'm begging her again. I'm saying, "I can't do it. I'm too weak. My back is shattered. I'm too broken." She doesn't say anything. She just moves aside. And there he is, the dragon spirit. Jesus. He moves toward me, and he's glowing with that silver light. He's not a dragon now, not exactly. He's more like a solid wall of bright, warm light. He moves his hand, or what looks like a hand, and he reaches for the base of my skull. I'm terrified. I think he's going to wipe me out, but he doesn't. He starts to put me back together. The white dragon spirit is right in front of me. I'm looking at him, and he's like a wall of silver light glowing so bright the air around him is humming. He reaches out. He doesn't have fingers like mine, but I see the shape of a hand moving toward the base of my skull. I'm terrified. I'm still bracing for the worst, still half thinking this is the moment it all ends for good. But then he touches me. I slip right back into it. It's happening right now. I can feel the pressure of his hand at the back of my neck. It's not a soft touch. It's heavy. It feels like something huge being forced into a space way too small to hold it. It's white hot, but it doesn't burn. There's this low, steady hum building in the back of my head that gets louder and louder until it's the only thing in the world. He's not just touching me. He's putting me back together from the inside. I feel the light pressing into my spine, into the places where breaks are the worst. Like he's pouring warm liquid silver into the cracks. I'm shaking, but I don't have a body to shake. I'm just a point of awareness being filled up with this heavy, steady energy, and I'm scared to go back. I'm so scared. I'm looking at him, begging him to just let me stay on the Highland Peak. I don't want Birmingham. I don't want the hospital bed. I don't want the pain of those 100 fractures. He doesn't say a word. He just keeps the pressure there. He's steady. He's solid. And then I feel this sudden sharp shove. Everything starts to break apart. The silver dragon, the violet sky, the mirror pond, they all blur and dissolve into a kind of gray static. The clean, sharp smell is replaced by something harsh and chemical. The noise is the first thing that hits me. It's not the low hum of the dragon spirit, it's the beeping of machines. It's people shouting. It's the clatter of metal on a tile floor. It's the hospital, and it's loud and ugly and harsh. I wake up kicking. I'm on the recovery table at UAB. I can feel the surgical staples in my back. I can feel the weight of my own broken body again. I'm screaming. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Go back! Just send me back! I can see the nurses. Their faces are blurry because I don't have my contacts in. I see a doctor running toward me. They think something's wrong. They think the anesthesia had a bad reaction. They're trying to hold me down, but I'm fighting them. I'm thrashing around, and every move feels like a blade being dragged through my spine. But I don't care. I just want to go back to that Highland. Just send me back, I'm sobbing. I don't belong here. This isn't the real one. This is just a copy. They don't know what I'm talking about. They're looking at each other, confused. They call my friend who was in the waiting room, thinking maybe she can calm me down. She comes in, and I'm looking right through her. I'm asking for my teacher. I'm asking for the woman with the blurred face. I'm asking for the dragon. They think I'm hallucinating. I can see it in their eyes, the way they look at me, then look down at their clipboards. They think the drug scrambled my brain. For the next 12 hours, I don't sleep. I can't. I'm laying there in that bed, staring at the white ceiling tiles. I'm terrified to tell anyone else because I don't want to get moved to a psych ward. I'm 26, I've got these tattoos on my face, and I already know people look at me a certain way. If I tell them I saw a white dragon spirit in a mirror pond, they're going to lock me up. I'm refusing the heavy pain meds. I'm only taking Tylenol. I know that sounds crazy given the state of my back, but I need to be clear-headed. I need to know that what I saw was real. I need to be sure I'm not just imagining it. The next morning, the chaplain comes in. It's a Lutheran hospital, and I'd refused the chaplain before the surgery because I was a hard atheist. I told them I didn't want any religious talk near my bed. But when she walks in, I almost cry with relief. Oh, thank God, I say. She sits with me for an hour. I tell her everything. I tell her about the Highland Peak and the clean air and the video in the sky. I tell her about the grocery store clerk and the gold light. I'm waiting for her to tell me I'm crazy. I'm waiting for her to call the orderlies, but she doesn't. She just nods. She looks at me and she says, Kash, what you had was a near-death experience, and I want you to know that it was real. You're not losing your mind. That was the turning point. Having someone, especially someone from a religious background, tell me that I wasn't just a glitch, that I hadn't just cracked. It's been 8 days since the accident. I'm still here at UAB. I'm looking out the window at the Birmingham skyline, at the Vulcan statue and the red dust of the hills. My back hurts. It hurts all the time. Whatever happened on that peak didn't make me bionic. It didn't fix the bones instantly. But something is different. That part of me, the atheist, it's just gone. I can't even remember how to be that person anymore. I look the world now, and I don't just see the surface of things. I see there's something underneath. I see that everything we do, every word we say to somebody is part of something a whole lot bigger. I still make my art, but I'm not just doing it for myself anymore. I'm trying to put a little bit of what I felt up on that peak back into the world down here. A little bit of that light. My life is still broken. I don't know if I'll ever ride my bike to Railroad Park again. I don't know if I'll ever walk without a limp. But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the lights going out because I've seen where we really come from. And I know there's a home waiting for me when this is all finally done. Kash is still in that hospital bed tonight. He's dealing with the plain physical reality of a back that got hammered by an SUV. But when he talks about what happened on that operating table, he doesn't talk like a man who lost something. He talks like a man who finally saw something true. What stays with me is that Kash didn't want to come back. Most of the accounts I read, people talk about being pulled toward the light or clawing their way back to stay alive for their kids. Kash was the opposite. He fought to stay on the other side. He begged. He got shoved back into his body, kicking and screaming, and he woke up furious about it. And he didn't come back with some big mission either. I kept waiting for the part where he's handed a message to spread or somebody to save. It never came. He just got to feel the exact weight of his own actions, the cruel ones and the kind ones both, in that silver pond. And then he got sent back to live with what he'd learned. I can't stop thinking about that, about the idea that maybe the whole point wasn't a mission at all. Maybe it was just to see, really see, what our smallest moments do to the people around us. The mean thing you say to a 10-year-old, the 10 seconds of kindness you give a stranger at a register. Kash felt both from the other side, and it changed him for good. If something like what Kash described has happened to you, if you were sent back when you didn't want to go, or if you stood in someone else's shoes during your life review and felt exactly what they felt, I'd really like to hear about it. It honestly helps me figure out whether what I'm noticing across these stories actually holds up. Leave it in the comments. I'm still listening.